WWE Elimination Chamber takes place tonight in Houston, Texas at the Toyota Center. And there's been a lot of noise this week, not much to do with the actual show, but some performers on the show, including Jimmy Uso, who was arrested this past week for trying to fight a police officer after his wife Naomi was pulled over for driving the wrong way on a one-way street. So, not a good week for Jimmy Uso, but someone who had an even worse week was Corey Graves, who was exposed by his wife on Instagram for having an affair with Carmella. And Corey Graves did this to his wife and his 3 kids. So, hey, you're having a bad week. At least you're not one of those 2 guys. It must really be embarrassing for them and for the company going into this show. And I can't imagine how awkward it's going to be if Corey Graves has to call Carmella's match in the Women's Elimination Chamber, which I think he has to because he's on Raw and SmackDown. So I think he'll be talking for that match. It's going to be pretty awkward. Now we go to the pre-show. It's your typical panel. It's only 1 hour this time. I mean, I'm used to these 2-hour giant pre-shows, but it's 1 hour. We're going to have the Cruiserweight Championship up shortly. Buddy Murphy defending his title against Akira Tozawa. Before we get to the match, there's a lot of selfie-style promos with practically all the women in the Women's Elimination Chamber match, the tag team match. They all had their own promos before the show. They had a Mojo Rawley selfie promo. They had an Alexa Bliss promo, which it's interesting because she was the winner of last year's Women's Elimination Chamber match, and now this year she's not even on the show. And I think a lot of these selfie promos are just time wasters. They don't need an hour pre-show. They probably just need a half-hour pre-show, to be honest. But they have to get as much time in as possible, so they're just killing time before we get to the match. And when the match starts, it's just a horrible atmosphere. There's about a quarter of the seats are empty. No one really cares that much. I don't think there's a person in the audience who watches 205 Live. And one thing that annoyed the hell out of me is they had Kayla Braxton trying to interview Kofi Kingston. Instead, Big E and Xavier come out. And this is during a title match. This would never happen in any other main roster title match. So it tells you how low on the food chain 205 Live is. Even though Akira Tozawa and Buddy Murphy are having a really good match during that time. And I think they had the wrong guy win. I think they could have had Tozawa win. The fans are starting to get into him, but they had Murphy retain the title. So, I mean, it's just get rid of this division. It's going nowhere. You can't, get these guys over in this atmosphere. So, it is what it is. We get a random Kevin Owens promo, and he's talking about the show, and then he eats a pineapple pizza, and I'm thinking to myself, I don't know if it's the pizza that tastes as bad or it's just Domino's. So right before the show started, they had Mark Henry come out on stage and being interviewed by Charlie Caruso to promote his upcoming documentary, which is going to air immediately after the pay-per-view goes off the air. It looks really good by the previews, so I'll definitely watch it and review it. So we get to the show. They have the video package to start the show with the Elimination Chamber talking. It's really cheesy, but I don't mind it. And we kick off with the Women's Elimination Chamber for the 2nd consecutive year. They have Carmella come out first. Yes, they did. That must have been a rib. No one talked. It was completely silent. It's everyone in the announce team was probably too awkward to say anything. So you heard a pin drop from the announce team. Carmella was booed. They did not like Carmella. And there was a chant of Corey Graves during the match. So the fans did not like Carmella. And Naomi came out after her. We have Beth Phoenix on there. She's on commentary. I think to myself, oh God, not Beth and Renee again. Riott Squad comes out next. That's Liv Morgan and Sarah Logan. Then you have the IIconics, Billie Kane, Peyton Royce. And I have to say, Peyton Royce just looks fantastic. She looked incredible here. I mean, just insanely attractive. Nia Jax and Tamina, they're horrible. The fans hate Nia Jax, obviously. And you have Sonya Deville and Mandy Rose. And I was actually watching a repeat of last year's Chamber. And when they came out to last year's Chamber, when they were in a match, they had all white gear. So this year they have all black gear. I liked it. They both looked cool. I like the black. I thought they both looked good, and they were both heels. And I thought both of them shined here. Mandy Rose, obviously, in black leather. What are you going to say? And then you have Sasha and Bayley come out, and they're going to start with them. So they have the heels get the heat on them. They have Sasha Banks really sell her arm. She has a shoulder injury, which I think's a work. They have her get her arm smashed into the bulletproof glass, like they like to call it. So she's hurt. They get the heat on them for a while. Then you have the Riott Squad enter. You have a cool Tower of Doom spot, which I liked. The IIconics come in next, and they're still working on Sasha's arm. And have the IIconics dominate. They beat up a lot of the wrestlers. They're getting a lot of heat, and the fans really hate Carmella. There's a choreographed chant at Carmella. They do not like her at all. And I don't mind. You know what? I don't like to get into people's personal business. I'm stay out of it. But you know what? She's a homewrecker. She slept with a guy who's married to a wife, and he has 3 kids at home. He has a wife and 3 kids at home. And to hear that one of his daughters really likes Carmella, it's like, fuck this bitch. Boo her. I liked how the IIconics eliminated Naomi. It was a cool finish. It was like a double, pinfall. I liked how they both got the leverage on her. And they have Nia Jax and Tamina come in. They run Rupshaw. They eliminate the IIconics. I liked how the IIconics hit. I thought the IIconics did good here. Even though their main roster run has been a disaster, I thought they did good here. They have both Liv Morgan and Sarah Logan hit big splashes from the top of the chambers. That was a really cool spot there. But then they're immediately eliminated. Nia hits them both with Samoan drops, and then Tamina hits her dad's splash and gets the pin. I hated how they had to protect Nia. They had Nia Jax try to kill Bayley, but she runs into the chamber and breaks through the bulletproof glass and takes her out of the match. And then you have Sasha, Bayley, Mandy, and Sonya all beat the hell out of Tamina, and they get her out. So it comes down to the 2 that started off, Bayley and Sasha against Sonya Deville and Mandy Rose. I loved how he had 2 really great close calls. The first one was Bayley almost hits Sonya Deville with the belly to belly. It looks like it's over to Mandy Rose. Gets there at the last second. And then the one I really thought was the finish was when Sasha Banks gets thrown into the chamber. Mandy Rose hits her finisher on Sasha, and then Sasha kicks out at the last second. So Bayley's out of the match. She's been thrown into one of the chamber pods. She's hurt. It comes down to Sasha against the other 2. And what happens is Sonya Deville accidentally spears Mandy Rose, and Sonya gets caught in the banks and Sasha can't hit it. Sasha has to do this inverted submission with her foot, and she gets a submission. She taps out Sonya Deville. Her and Mandy Rose really had a good showing, but Sasha Banks gets the win for her team. She's very emotional. Bayley and Sasha are your first ever women's tag team champions, and well deserved. Whether or not you thought it was predictable, I saw some complaint it's too predictable. They were the rightful champions. Who else are you going to have? You have to have someone carry the division right now. They were the perfect team. Sasha Banks was very emotional. They had Charlie Caruso interview him at the end. Sasha sold it like $1 million in particular. So did Bayley, and they're both the champions. It was the right decision. I don't know who else you would have gone with. I think they're going to do really well. I don't know who. I think they should have a match at WrestleMania. I don't know who it'll be. But yeah, Bayley and Sasha Banks, your new women's tag team champions. So next we go to the SmackDown tag titles. It's Shane and Miz against the Usos. The Miz comes up first, and he announces him and Maurice are having another baby. I guess it was done to promote Miz and Mrs. Match was slow. The Usos, Jimmy Uso got in some shit. It's the reason why he didn't get the win here, but match was really slow until you get 2 big spots. Like Shane has to get the hot tag, but there was 2 cool spots. Shane hits a coast-to-coast on one of the Usos. He goes to hit the other one, but he gets hit with a super kick. And then they get to the outside, and Shane hits an elbow through one of the Usos through the table. It looks like it's going to just come down to Miz and Jey Uso. So Shane took out Jimmy. It's Miz and Jey. Miz hits a skull-crushing finale. It looks like it's over, but Jey Uso hits a reverse pinfall with the arms, and Jey Uso pins the Miz. It was a crazy good ending. It was a genuine shock. Holy shit, I did not expect it. That was crazy. The Usos win. After the match, of Miz and Shane embrace, and later in the show, they have them being angry at each other at the locker room, so they're teasing the breakup. But Usos win in a surprising fashion. They're new tag champs. Up next was the match that was the piss break. It was Bobby Lashley defending his Intercontinental title with Lio Rush with him against Finn Balor. This was a cool, surprising Balor win the Intercontinental title. He's good. He will be a good champion. Fans really like Balor, so it was cool to see him win, but the match was a snooze fest. He pins Lio Rush, and then after the match, Bobby Lashley kills Lio Rush, which is what everyone wants to see, until we saw what happened later. So this show is in Houston, Texas, and next year in Houston, Texas will be the 2020 Royal Rumble event. The show takes place in Minute Maid Stadium, in a baseball stadium, home of the Astros. I guess they're just going to do Royal Rumble in baseball stadiums now, which is cool. So Houston's getting the Rumble next year. So we go to Ronda Rousey and Ruby Riott next. They have Charlotte Flair being interviewed by Charlie. I mean, it's like, we didn't need this. Ronda comes out with this cool Mortal Kombat letter gear. She is doing something with the video game. I liked her gear a lot. It looked really good. Ruby Riott gets squashed, which did not make me happy at all. I did not like seeing Ruby Riott just get squashed here, but Ronda Rousey kills Ruby Riott. And then there's a standoff with Charlotte, and it looks like Ronda and Charlotte are going to fight, and then we hear Becky, not her music, we hear the fans going crazy, so you know it's Becky. She's using crutches to stand herself up because Charlotte attacked her at a host show. They did an angle at the host show, but Becky's on crutches. I was thinking she's faking with the crutches, and then she's just going to beat up Charlotte. But what happens is Becky throws one of the crutches at Charlotte and beats the shit out of Charlotte with the crutch, beats her down. Ronda is enjoying it. She's just watching. And then Becky tries to get Ronda to join in the beating on Charlotte. But then Becky does a heel move and turns on Ronda. And this is weird. I don't know what Becky was doing here. She might get some heat on her. She hit Ronda like 2 or 3 times right in the fucking head. I mean, Ronda can have a concussion here. If I'm Ronda, I want to kick Becky's ass. I don't know what the hell's wrong with Becky here. She fucking wailed on Ronda right in the fucking head like 3 times. Like, it was bad. Like, what the fuck is Becky doing here? I don't know. I don't know if Ronda's okay. But, yeah, she beat up Charlotte. But, like, she wasn't trying to kill Charlotte. She's fucking hitting Ronda in the fucking head. I don't know, but this was a cool angle for Becky to make her more of a badass, and it definitely did that. And she beats the shit out of both Ronda and Charlotte. But I don't know. I don't know what she was doing with Ronda there, but yeah, definitely trying to, they're going all the way with Becky. I have no doubt she's winning the title at WrestleMania. Next is the match. I just want to, it's like you just put a farting sound. This is what this fucking match was. Corbin and Strowman. They have Corbin get the heat on Strowman forever, and then Strowman looks like it's over, and then you have Lashley and McIntyre. They destroy Strowman. They do a shield powerbomb off steel steps and through 2 tables, and Corbin wins. It's like they've killed Strowman. Like, they didn't want to do Brock Lesnar and Braun Strowman at the Royal Rumble this year because Vince McMahon felt like after Crown Jewel, he didn't want to beat Strowman again, but now you have him lose to Baron Corbin on pay-per-view. Braun Strowman's done. I thought he was going to be the top guy, but they decided to go with Seth Rollins. They want Seth Rollins as that guy. They're not going to go with Strowman, but Rollins is their guy, and I think Strowman's just going to be a mid-carder. He'll be like a Finn Balor type. Somewhere, maybe Dean Ambrose even, like just a kind of a babyface upper mid-carder. He's not going to be the champion. They don't see him like that. I think he's just like a Big Show. He's the Big Show. It's like, please retire after a couple more years, Strowman. And I don't think he'll be wrestling for much longer because his knees are shot, so. But I don't even really give a shit. We're going to have to see Baron Corbin, Bobby Lashley, and Drew McIntyre as the top heels on Raw since Lesnar's out. They're going to do a major heel faction. They're going to be pushed heavily. It makes me think these guys are being saved for the Shield, but I'm just going to move on. Just fuck that. That's fucking bullshit. Fuck that. That's fucking shit. It was a fucking piece of shit. Speaking of garbage, you have Lacey Evans come out, who, no offense to Lacey Evans, but her gimmick is fucking horrific. She just walks out and walks back. Like, can you, leave, go back to NXT? There's nothing with Lacey Evans. So, main event's up next. WWE Championship Elimination Chamber. You have Kofi Kingston, Jeff Hardy, Randy Orton, and AJ Styles all in the pods. Then you have Samoa Joe come out, and you have Daniel Bryan cut a promo, and Eric Rowan sent to the back. So, it's Bryan and Joe starting things off. Joe dominates early. He has some really cool submissions on Daniel Bryan. Kofi comes in, and Kofi gets some offense in. He has a cool spot with Daniel Bryan in which they're both on top of one of the pods. Then eventually Joe takes over again. AJ comes out, and then AJ's in there. They have AJ Styles eliminate Samoa Joe, which kind of is like, oh, that's it. They're doing nothing with Joe. After that, you had this really insane Swanton Bomb from Jeff Hardy, who entered the match. Hardy came in next. And he did this crazy Swanton Bomb. in which AJ was on the top rope. Jeff drops from the pod, lands right on AJ, and then Daniel Bryan hits him with a knee, and Daniel Bryan eliminates Hardy. He had Randy Orton eliminating AJ Styles kind of out of nowhere. Then he have Kofi eliminating Randy Orton. Stupid. That's for 10 years ago, and Orton called him stupid. Hits him with the Trouble in Paradise. The fans are going nuts for Kofi Kingston. They are just insanely behind this guy. Kofi's just being cheered heavily. This is great. The fans battling on it. They cut to people like they want Kofi to win this so bad. And I'll say to myself, this is 2012. Daniel Bryan and Santino Marella. And I'm not a fan of Santino Marella at all. I was never a fan. But in that match, that was the highlight of that guy's career, thinking, holy shit, he's going to win. He's going to beat Daniel Bryan. And he never did. Here, I thought that Kofi could win. I was hoping they'd let Kofi win for a great moment. Even if he loses the title at the next pay-per-view before WrestleMania, I would find that. I thought that would just been an amazing moment seeing him win the title. They did not go that direction. They wanted Kofi to win so bad. There were so many close falls. The Kofi kicking out of the running knee. Daniel Bryan immediately no-selling he doesn't really kick out of the Trouble in Paris. He gets it right to a roll-up look kick. Match is over. Some bad camera work there, but this was just so fun and so exciting. When it just was a six-man or a singles match between Daniel Bryan and Kofi Kingston, it was an exhilarating match. I was thinking, oh shit, are they going to let Kofi win? You just knew in the back of my mind, Daniel Bryan's probably going to retain. But I wish they would have called an audible and had Kofi win. I don't know what they're going to do. I don't know if they're going to go Daniel Bryan and Kofi Kingston at WrestleMania. It'd be cool. Daniel Bryan beat him cleanly in the middle of the ring, though. It wasn't a heel win. It was like a clean win. So I don't know where they're going to go next. Maybe we'll see the match at WrestleMania. They could go that direction. I have no problem with that at all if they do, but Daniel Bryan pins Kofi Kingston, much to the dismay of the crowd. It just broke everyone's hearts. The show ends with Kofi. The New Day comes out. Big E and Xavier console Kofi. They carry him out on their shoulders. He's leaning on them to stand up. He gets a huge standing ovation. Fans chant, "Thank you, Kofi." An amazing moment for Kofi Kingston. I think if he wins the title at WrestleMania, it would be an amazing moment. But here was the time. The fans are so into him. They badly wanted Kofi to win. If it was up to me, I would have called an audible and given him just this amazing moment. But it's possible that's the match at WrestleMania. But that was, man, how could you not get behind Kofi in this match? But Daniel Bryan is still the champ. We'll see where they go from here. The main event was great. The final few minutes of the match was fantastic. So, kind of saved the show. I enjoyed both the chambers. So I guess when you have a show called Elimination Chamber, the middle of the show sucked, but both the chambers I thought delivered the most they could. So I'd say the show was pretty decent because of that. You have two good chamber matches. I think that's kind of gives the pay-per-view a pass.